Hey guys, what's up? It's AppleCritics from AppleCritics.com. In this video, I have a very special video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the iPhone 11 Pro Max versus the brand new iPhone 12 Pro Max. And in this video, it'll be a head-to-head video and giving you some more in-depth details on these two devices. So Apple launched the iPhone 12 series on the 13th of October, and the star of the show would have to be the new Apple iPhone 12 Pro Max. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max is the successor of this iPhone 11 Pro Max that came out last year. So you're probably wondering whether you want to upgrade or not. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you both these two devices head to head and showing you the best features of both, and then giving you the final reason as to why you should or should not upgrade to the latest and greatest iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, starting off with the design of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the dimensions include 160.88 millimeters by 78.1 millimeters by 7.4 millimeters. Now, the most important feature is that this phone weighs 228 grams and it is IP68 water and dust resistant up to 6 meters. So you can see it weighs a total of 228 grams. Now, the 11 Pro Max has the dimensions of 158 by 77.8 by 8.1, and this weighs 226 grams compared to the iPhone 12 Pro Max's 228 grams. So you can see that there's a difference there, and it is IP68 water and dust resistant up to 4 meters, and that is a little bit less than the 6 meter water and dust resistance of the 12 Pro Max. Now, one of the biggest changes between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max is the design. Now, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is known to have the curved sides and edges, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has flat sides and sharp edges, and it makes the device look a lot more sleeker and futuristic. And the iPhone 12 Pro Max also has some super shiny sides as well, which gives the device a much more premium look compared to the older 11 Pro Max, which has some rounded edges and doesn't look as good when you take a closer look at these two devices. Now, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is actually slightly longer when you compare these two devices between the 11 Pro Max and the 12 Pro Max, but the 12 Pro Max is slightly thinner than the 11 Pro Max, so that is just something to know. So holding the iPhone 12 Pro Max won't be any harder than holding the 11 Pro Max, so that is definitely something to note. But just in general, the 12 Pro Max is just better looking and definitely a head turner in general. And that's why I really like it compared to the 11 Pro Max. So if you are someone who cares about the looks of your latest device, the 12 Pro Max would be a major upgrade for you. Now, taking a look at the overall display of this 12 Pro Max, it just simply is a brilliant display. It's a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display, which is OLED at 2778 by 1284 pixels resolution with 458 pixels per inch, 800 nits of typical brightness, 1200 nits at peak brightness, wide color display, HDR, and also you have the ceramic shield protection on this 12 Pro Max. Now, comparing it to the 11 Pro Max that we have right here, the 11 Pro Max is a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR display, which is OLED, 2688 by 1242 pixels resolution at 458 pixels per inch, 800 nits of typical brightness, 1200 nits of peak brightness, wide color display, HDR, and ion strengthened glass of protection. So those are the two very vibrant and bright displays. I would have to say the 12 Pro Max display is just simply better when you take a look at it overall, but they're two roughly the same top of the line displays that you can't really tell much of a difference when you take a closer look. But on first look, I would say the 12 Pro Max display is much more brighter and is significant when you take a look at it. So just in general, the 12 Pro Max packs a bigger display compared to its predecessor. However, the increase in size is only marginal and you won't be able to notice it coming from an 11 Pro Max. The other change between the displays of these two smartphones is that the 12 Pro Max features a ceramic shield protection, which according to Apple is 4 times stronger than the glass on the 11 Pro Max's display. However, if you're someone who uses a tempered glass screen protector, the ceramic shield display of the 12 Pro Max wouldn't benefit you much. All in all, the display is not a deciding factor for you to upgrade to the 12 Pro Max. Now, taking a look at the camera for the 12 Pro Max, that is when things get interesting. So with the 12 Pro Max, you have a rear 12 megapixel primary camera that is a f1.6 aperture camera that has a dual pixel PDAF, sensor shift, and optical image stabilization. You also have a 12 megapixel telephoto camera that has a 2.5 times optical zoom, 65 millimeter focal length, f2.2 aperture, PDAF, and optical image stabilization. And then you get a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera with a f2.4 aperture, 120 degrees field of view, 13 millimeter focal length, fixed focus. And then you get a 3D TOF LiDAR scanner with 4K 60 frames per second video recording with Dolby Vision. And then the front camera is a 12 megapixel f2.2 aperture, 23 millimeter focal length at 4K 60 frames per second video recording. So that is the new camera for the 12 Pro Max. Now, in terms of the cameras on the 11 Pro Max, you get a rear camera that's the 12 megapixel primary camera, f1.8 aperture. You get the dual pixel PDAF or optical image stabilization camera as well, with a 12 megapixel telephoto, 2 times optical zoom, 52 millimeter focal length, f2.0 aperture, PDAF, and optical image stabilization. And then you get a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera at an f2.4 aperture, 120 degrees field of view, 13 megapixel focal length, fixed focus, and you get 4K 60 frames per second. And then the front camera is a 12 megapixel camera. You get an f2.2 aperture, 23 millimeter focal length, and then you get the 4K 60 frames per second video recording with the front camera. So when it comes to the camera, that is where the 12 Pro Max shines. It's significantly ahead of the 11 Pro Max. It's definitely night and day. The iPhone 12 Pro Max not only has a much better primary camera at the rear, but it also packs a higher zooming telephoto camera. You get the LiDAR scanner, you get the Dolby Vision video recording. Apple's also using a bigger primary sensor on the 12 Pro Max as well. So that is definitely big, and which should help with the low light imaging performance. Then the telephoto lens also has a slightly higher reach, so you can zoom a wee bit more into subjects. Now, while you can expect the 12 Pro Max to offer the same image quality as the 11 Pro Max with the ultra wide camera, it will put out a significantly better image with the primary and telephoto lens compared to that of the 11 Pro Max. So the new iPhone will also be able to capture better portrait images thanks to the LiDAR scanner right here. So the Dolby Vision video recording will offer much superior quality compared to the standard 4K 60 frames per second video taken on the 11 Pro Max. So we can capture images and record videos on a regular basis, and even slightly better image and video quality will make a huge difference on a day-to-day basis. If you're a shutterbug, the 12 Pro Max will definitely be a worthy upgrade for you. Now, in terms of the camera on both these devices, what we can do is just go into it. And going into the camera, you can see the 12 Pro Max actually has a 2.5 optical zoom compared to just a 2 times optical zoom, so that is the main difference. But you also have some increased zooming, so you can see that with the 12 Pro Max you can have up to a 12 times zoom compared to only a 10 times zoom on the 11 Pro Max. So that is something to note. So you get more zooming capabilities, and overall you just have a stronger camera on the 12 Pro Max, having that LiDAR sensor right there. So it's always gonna computate the best possible photo. Low light photos are even better on the 12 Pro Max. So if you thought the 11 Pro Max camera was good, well, the 12 Pro Max camera is better in basically every category, and it just simply crushes it. So one of the main reasons you want to upgrade from the 12 Pro Max would have to be the camera, and it does not disappoint, I must say. Now we can also take a look at the video, and going into the video right here, we can see that we also have some more increased zooming, so it goes up to 7 times on the 12 Pro Max versus only 6 times on the 11 Pro Max for the video. And we both do have the capability of 4K 60 frames per second, but we also do get the Dolby Vision on the 12 Pro Max, so that is just something to note as well. So those are the camera capabilities of both these devices. Now, in terms of the overall performance for the 12 Pro Max and the 11 Pro Max, that is where the 12 Pro Max has an Apple A14 Bionic chip, which has a 5 nanometer fabrication process, a 6-core CPU, 4-core GPU, 40% faster CPU, and 30% faster GPU compared to the Apple A13 Bionic chip. Now, the 11 Pro Max is a completely different story. It has the Apple A13 Bionic chip at a 7 nanometer fabrication process, 6-core CPU, and 4-core GPU. So the 12 Pro Max has much more processing and graphics power compared to the 11 Pro Max. However, you won't be able to notice the increase in performance coming from an 11 Pro Max because last year's iPhone was already very powerful. That being said, the extra horsepower would come in handy in 2 or 3 years down the road when Apple upgrades the software with more features, which would normally take a toll on the processing power. If you are going to use your iPhone for long, it would make sense to upgrade to the 12 Pro Max, as it has a much more powerful SoC, which will keep the phone running smooth and fast. But if you are someone who changes smartphones every 1 to 2 years, the extra horsepower isn't worth spending on. So it's more of a long-term plan to get the 12 Pro Max if you're going to keep it for a few years, if you really care about the processing power. Now what we can do is go to Geekbench on both these devices. So the 11 Pro Max is on the left and the 12 Pro Max is on the right. So now what we can do is just do a Geekbench test of the CPU. So you just tap the CPU on both. So now you can see the Geekbench score results. So this is the results of the 11 Pro Max, and then we have the results of the 12 Pro Max. So you can see the 12 Pro Max simply finished much higher compared to the 11 Pro Max. So in terms of the single core, it was 1604 on the 12 Pro Max to 1336 for the single core score. And then on the 12 Pro Max is 4,227 to 3,497 on the 11 Pro Max. And then you can see it shows the system information right at the bottom there. So you can see that this is a very accurate test, and you can see the difference between the two in terms of the scores. So that is obviously expected when you have 6 gigabytes of RAM compared to 4 gigabytes of RAM. You get the A14 Bionic chip, which is much improved and has a lot of great improvements. This is much expected with the overall state of these two devices. Now, when it comes to the RAM and storage of both these devices, the 12 Pro Max starts at 128 gigabytes and it has a 256 gigabyte model and a 512 gigabyte model. And then the 11 Pro Max starts at 64 gigabytes, then goes from 256 gigabytes to 512 gigabytes. Now, this 11 Pro Max has 4 gigabytes of RAM and the 12 Pro Max has 6 gigabytes of RAM, so that must be noted as well. So the 12 Pro Max actually starts at the same price as the 11 Pro Max did, but it offers double the storage for that price, which in my opinion makes the new iPhone much more value for the money compared to the older 11 Pro Max. So the 12 Pro Max also has 2 gigabytes of additional RAM capacity. However, we don't know how much that will help from the 4 gigabytes of RAM on the 11 Pro Max to the new 12 Pro Max, since that kept the 11 Pro Max running smoothly without any hiccups, even under heavy multitasking. So if you had purchased the 64 gigabyte storage variant of the 11 Pro Max and falling short on storage, this would be the right time to upgrade to a higher capacity 12 Pro Max. But other than that, storage should not be much of a deciding factor for you. Now, in terms of the battery, you get 20 hours of playback for downloaded videos on both devices. You get 12 hours of video playback for streamed videos on both devices and 80 hours of audio playback on both devices. You get the 18-watt wired charging for both devices, and you get 50% charge in 30 minutes on the 12 Pro Max versus 50% charge in 35 minutes on the 11 Pro Max. And you also have 15-watt wireless charging capabilities and the Magsafe compatibility on the 12 Pro Max versus only the 15-watt wireless charging on the 11 Pro Max and no Magsafe capability. Now, although the 12 Pro Max has a significantly smaller battery pack compared to its predecessor, it offers a similar battery backup. At least that's what the official numbers say. So Apple has been able to achieve similar battery backup with a smaller battery with the help of the A14 Bionic chip, which is much more power efficient than the 11 Pro Max's A13 Bionic chip. So since the 12 Pro Max is actually a smaller battery and has the same charging wattage as its predecessor, it charges faster. So speaking of, one of the coolest features of the 12 Pro Max has to be the Magsafe technology. It basically is an accessory mounting system that has magnets to hold the accessories in place. So the wireless chargers compatible with Magsafe will be a lot easier to use with the 12 Pro Max rather than the standard chargers with the 11 Pro Max, as the Magsafe will keep it in place even when you pick up the device and you use it in your hand. Now, in terms of connectivity, both these devices have a dual SIM. They have dual band Wi-Fi 6 with MIMO, Bluetooth 5.0, GPS, NFC, ultra wideband, and Lightning port. But the difference in the connectivity between both these devices is that the 11 Pro Max has 4G and the 12 Pro Max has that brand new 5G. So one of the biggest talking points for the 12 Pro Max would have to be the 5G connectivity. It is among the first set of iPhones to feature support for the 5G network. However, the availability of the 5G is currently limited at the moment, and in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to spend on a new phone just for the 5G connectivity when most of the time you'll be at home under the fastest Wi-Fi. Now, last but not least is the price. So the price of the 12 Pro Max starts at $1099 and the 11 Pro Max starts at $1099, but you get 128 gigabyte 12 Pro Max at that price versus a 64 gigabyte 11 Pro Max at that price. So that is something to definitely consider. So in conclusion, the 12 Pro Max only offers marginal improvements over its predecessor in many aspects. Imaging is the only criteria where it is vastly better on the 12 Pro Max. So the camera is a lot better than the 11 Pro Max in that category. So I think you should upgrade to the 12 Pro Max if you're not satisfied with the camera on your 11 Pro Max. However, if that is not the case, it is better for you to stick with your 11 Pro Max and then wait until the iPhone 13 series and save your money for that. So hopefully you enjoyed this video on both the 11 Pro Max versus the 12 Pro Max. If you did, be sure to smash the like button down below. Leave a comment down below of what you think of these two devices, if you'll be picking one up, or your opinion on both of them. Also, be sure to check out other videos on my channel. Be sure to subscribe for more great content, and follow me on social media at AppleCritics on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thanks for watching.